Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Chris. I'm coming to show you some more yard sale, and I think it's just yard sale finds. I haven't really been to a thrift store in a while, and I've stopped at Goodwill, but they're not great lately. But yeah, I've been super busy lately. That's probably why there's been a ton of just sales videos between the two last haul videos. So it's September. Hopefully this comes out before the end of the year, but I'm putting up videos now from February, so who knows. But I've been super busy. Last video I might have showed you guys how much stuff was up there. I actually sent out 300 items to Amazon, so I have a lot less than I did, but then I bought a bunch of stuff, so almost 300 more items since then. But yeah, I haven't done a haul video in I think 3 weeks, maybe even 4, because things were going out as fast as they were coming in. I sent off a bunch of stuff to Amazon. Unfortunately, it didn't all work out with Amazon, because now I think EA and Activision are requiring like secondary approval to list used. I didn't notice the problem because I had relisted old listings, but to list new listings, which apparently FBA listings count, even though, I don't know, it's a whole thing. So I'm getting like 11 or 12 of those games back. So don't send your used EA and Activision stuff in now, or I don't know, maybe by then it'll be fixed, but either way, here we go. You may have noticed a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. So let's get into it. Let's start with this bunch of iPods. So I think I spent 15 on this one, which is the most, 10 on this one. This will go for like over 100, 50-ish. And then I probably only paid $2 or $3 for the rest of these. This is going to go for the most. I just sold, this is a 120. I just sold a 160 for 185. And this one might go for the same amount, but probably get 40 out of this one. And these second, I think one of them might be a third gen. I don't know. These second gen ones don't go for a lot anymore. It's like 15 to 20 if you're lucky. But I only paid $2 or $3 for them. I did have to order cords because just nobody ever has the cords anymore. So I also sold 3 or 4 other iPods that are gone throughout the week. So yeah, it's just hard to keep up with these. And then also picked up an iRiver, which was a little beat up. Had a exploded battery, but I cleaned it up. Works great. That's a decent one to look out for. iRiver and Sansa are 2 other brands that do pretty well for me. Then have a graphing calculator that I paid 50 cents for. This is one of the newer TI-84s with the built-in battery. So they didn't have, I thought it was going to be this cord, but it just ended up being a mini USB, which I have a bunch of those lying around. Charged it no problem, works great. I'll go here. So these were free, just some VHS that I thought would be decent. I think this one will go for the most, maybe $10. Hercules and Xena. I'm not sure about these, but they were free, so I grabbed them. Also thrown in with the purchase was Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and Final Fantasy X guidebooks, but they're both beat up. This one's even missing the back cover. And I got those by buying a Guitar Hero 2 controller for $5, and I think one of these iPods for $3. So $8 total on that. Pretty good. I'll make the money back. On the iPod, actually they didn't have the game for Guitar Hero 2, but I had a copy lying around for like 3 or 4 years, so I threw that in. So that's always a good thing to have for these controllers, is the game to bundle with them. You can usually get more. And then this was a great buy. So the Canon, whatever, I wasn't sure how much it was worth. I gave her $5. It's a Canon EOS Rebel. I think I looked, only like 25, 30 bucks, like maybe, and they're not selling too frequently. It came with a bunch of other stuff, so might be able to get something decent. But what was great, and if you go on my Instagram, which is at Chris Goes Thrifting, you might have already seen some of this stuff. If you've been watching the channel a while, probably didn't know that I have an Instagram, but decided to start one for the really big stuff that I could not get a video for. So you'll see some of the Sen 64 stuff up there, and I'll show you the other stuff, but you'll see this. So I paid another $3 for, I think it was like a Panasonic or some other MP3 player, which sold for $40. So $17 for camera, what's in the bag, and that MP3 player. And that, I doubled my money just on that, but I've already sold $450 worth of stuff out of here. So I'm going to show you. It is vintage rock tees. There's some pretty good ones. I already sold some of the best ones. I sold a Van Halen one for $109, an Alabama one for $30, another Van Halen one for $35 that was just like tattered, but it looked like it was going to a vintage shop, so they'll probably get like $150. But we got a Moody Blues shirt. I folded them, so I'm not going to unfold them because it'd be hard to put away. A Deep Purple. The Firm. Some of these I have up for like $100-something because they've been selling. Jay Giles Band. Cool. ZZ Top. Eliminator. Most of these are... this one actually is not a band tee, but it was in there. Just, it says Bellboys. It's Allied Trucks. And on the back, it's like a tow truck company or a tow truck school or something. We got Loverboy. Let's see. This was another Van Halen t-shirt. This one's just a t-shirt. There was a baseball tee. Most of these are baseball tees, actually. But the one that looked very similar to this sold for $35. This I have up for a lot right now. Hoping to get just under $200. It's a Judas Priest one. Looks pretty cool. Hoping to get... That's probably the most expensive one in there. I think... so these are all small and mediums. If these were large and XL, I could probably add like $50 to all of them. So Pat Travers, who I'd never heard of. It's got a little bit of drawn nudity on it. And then The Fix. Oh, and forgot about that. Bad Company. So yeah, this was an amazing find. So I think I've made $450 from this sale so far. I don't even have the camera listed because that I'm gonna have to either test it with film, or I'm not really sure. I don't usually deal too much in 35mm. It's almost always Polaroid because it's just easier to test. So amazing find there. And then I'll show you just this. The Simpsons 3D chest. I paid $2. Guy then ended up talking about he would just sell video games on eBay if he had them. So it sounds like they had a ton of stuff. So it sounds like he is also a reseller. So I didn't bother pressing him. I just kind of gave him $2 for this. Should go for about $25-$30. Then we'll go through the line of systems over there. We got an Xbox 360. It's got a 250 gig hard drive. Came with these two controllers. These chrome ones are good to look out for. This red one I think's going for like $80 right now. This one might go for a bit less because it's a bit scuffed. But I paid $10 for that. Came with 2 games, which I'll show you later. And yeah, 2 controllers, works great. Then 2 PS2s over there. One of them, I think I might have gotten a trade. I've still been trading Switches, which is, it's died down, definitely. I think it's more of like a Facebook issue than it is of lack of interest. I'm just not getting as many views. I think it's because they want you to pay. But I'm going to probably just put up new listings and see how that goes. But yeah, I think I got one of those in a trade, and then the other one I paid $28 for. Got 2 Xbox 360 games, all the PS2 games there. Works great. Came with two controllers and then a wireless controller that doesn't have the battery cover, which I don't usually like to sell stuff without the battery cover, so I might just like throw it on eBay as is. But yeah, great find there. 2 N64s. One of them. Definitely go check out Instagram if you want to see the full spread of games. But this is what I have left. We got Perfect Dark, got a Game Shark inbox, Mickey Speedway USA, and Super Mario 64, all complete. The other games were Ocarina of Time, Banjo-Tooie, and Donkey Kong 64, all sold for over $100 each, complete. Came with a plethora of controllers. I think those 3 came with one, and this one came with another. The other one, I'm trying to think if that was also part of a trade. I'm not quite sure, but the boxed ones also came with 2 expansion packs, both sold for $50 or $49 and change maybe. But yeah, $28, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And yeah, amazing find. And then there's like a racing controller, yeah, back there. I forgot to take it out. They originally brought that out and the system, and I was like, oh, do you have the regular controller and maybe some games? And then they came out with boxed games. So they only had like a broken PS3 Guitar Hero controller out. Anytime you see any video game stuff, always start to ask and always list, always say, do you have any Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, Xbox, Atari, Game Boy, Wii, DS? Like, you want to kind of name, not too many, because they'll eventually just get annoyed, but you want to name enough that are different, because when you say Nintendo, people don't really think of Wii, they don't really think of DS, they don't think of Switch. Like, you have to use those words to remind them. When most people hear Nintendo, they just think that original box. But yeah, and even still, one of these, I asked for video games. They're like, no, we don't have any video games. And then I asked, oh, well, you know, do you have any like old DS or Xbox or Wii or whatever? And they're like, oh, we have Wii games. And I don't know why Wii, for a lot of people, just they don't consider video games, which is strange. But same thing with DS. So always list the stuff, at least 3 or 4. That's what I find to be a good balance of like reminding but not too annoying. Yeah. So the other N64, not 100% sure. I think I might have just paid $10 or $15 at a yard sale, and they didn't have any games. But it might have also came in a trade. I've been so busy that I honestly don't remember. But next, got a GameCube there. Came with the power cord and the AV cable. It only had the power cord at first, and there was a game inside. I'll show you in a minute. And I was like, oh, how much for this? And they're like, 10. And I was like, well, do you have the AV cable? Do you have the controller? Do you have any other games? And they just kind of seemed like they were probably buying storage units or something. So they weren't sure. None of them really knew. Might have also been one of those things where people just dropped it off for them to sell. I'm not sure. I ended up looking around. I found the AV cable because he wouldn't come down from 10. And I only wanted to pay 5 just because it didn't look like the type of atmosphere where they took care of it. So I always like to pay a lot less, just assuming it might be broken. But I ended up finding the AV cable like on the next table over, and I was like, "Oh, I found the AV cable." And like, "You found it? That's crazy." I was like, "Yeah, I just looked for like 2 minutes." I was like, "Well, will you take 10? I'll give you 10 now." So I paid 10 because it's worth it to have the 2 extra cables at that point. So it came with 1 game, show you in a minute, and then a bunch of Wii's. I already sold one that I probably paid $10 for. I didn't pay very much for any of these. I think the bottom one, the middle one, I thought was going to be a Wii U because there was a ton of Wii U games, but they didn't have the console. I was like, "Oh, do you have the console? You're going to get rid of it?" And they were like, "Oh, we don't know." I was like, "Well, I'd be interested if you want to get rid of it." And then the lady was like, "Yeah, sure." But it wasn't there. It was one of those deals where they were over their parents' house, but they lived down the street. She called her husband. Her husband came with the console, ended up just being a regular Wii. No controllers. But while I was waiting, I asked like how much she would think she wants. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know. Probably like next to nothing." And I also asked about iPods. So that's actually where I got, now I'm remembering, that's where I got these 2 iPods. So after he brought it, all these Wii U games, and 2 more, which aren't here because I was playing them. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and Mario 3D World. So I ended up paying $30 for a Wii, a bunch of games, 2 iPods. The small teal one will pay for everything because that's going to go for about $40-$45. So I am keeping Donkey Kong and Mario 3D World, and then probably get rid of the rest of these. I don't typically play Wii U games that are also on PS4. I end up playing them on PS4. And yeah, so then the other 2 Wii's, I think I just paid like $10 for the black one. I don't think it came with too much. And I kind of don't really remember how much I paid for the other black one. All of them were last weekend. I just pretty much bought a Wii at every yard sale I went to. So I just kind of don't really remember the pricing, but I didn't pay all that much for any of them. And then those are the games. Oh yeah, back there is a inbox Xbox One S. That was definitely part of a trade. I got that, a new 2DS XL, Skate 3. Oh, and I think that's where the other PS2 came from. So I got all that in a trade for a Switch Lite. Sold the 2DS XL for like $130, I think. Skate, I think I sent off. And I'm debating keeping the Xbox One because I have the original black one, but it takes up so much space and it doesn't quite fit in my entertainment system. Like it's kind of diagonal to keep it from the door hitting it, just because the plugs stick out so far back. So I might keep it. It's listed for sale now. I'll hopefully get like $250, $300. But yeah, not like the best trade that I've made so far, but yeah, I think it also came with a DS and maybe some games. Like I think Pokemon Pearl came with it, and I think I still have that though. So moving on, got a couple Polaroid cameras. I paid $3 for the one step close up at a yard sale, and I paid $1 for the Spectra System SE. I actually ended up knowing the guy at the yard sale. I didn't recognize him because of the sunglasses and the mask, because everyone wears a mask now. I haven't really recognized people when they wear them, but I've been recognized a lot lately, either through my band, which was this case, or through like a job I used to have. And I kind of can't believe people are recognizing me so much, because everyone's just a blur to me at this point, basically. But yeah, I ended up knowing the guy. I ended up playing a show at the house, and it was another friend's house that he's living at now. So it was very odd circumstance. But yeah, I ended up paying a buck for that and a buck for, I think, Tony Hawk Proving Ground, which is around here somewhere. Yeah, it's in the stack. I won't get too much for either. I think Proving Ground, I sent off 2 copies to Amazon. I think I'll get like between 12 and 15. And the camera I'll probably sit on for a while. Because the Spectres just, they don't sell very fast. Then, I didn't open this up. This is a little point and shoot camera. I want to say it's a Sony. I typically only buy Sonys because there's never an issue selling Sony stuff on Amazon. Like Samsung is a issue typically. I don't know, some of the other stuff's fine. Yeah, it's a Sony. So this was like $35, $40. I think it was going for, so I paid 10. Came with the cords and battery charger, which is always nice because these point and click cameras, I kind of have like, I think I have 4 or 5 of them at this point that I just haven't tested because I don't have the charger. And what's annoying is I had a universal charger for them, but I just ended up loading it with another one and didn't think like, oh, I was gonna buy more of these. So definitely always keep chargers, especially if they're universal. This ended up coming with those. Rumble packs are always good, $15 usually now. And colored controller came with the one, the PlayStations. Those are always great. This was a Facebook deal. I paid $45 for 2DS, which is definitely a lot for a 2DS, but it's the Super Mario Maker one. So I should go for like 100, 125. What's funny is I drove up to their house. My money was kind of stuck together, and I was like, oh, geez, I almost paid her $65 for this. I got out of the car, gave her the money, drove 20 minutes almost, and then she messaged me. She was like, oh, you gave us an extra 20. Do you want it back? Or she's like, I don't want to be a pain, but you gave us an extra 20. I was like, oh, no, you're not being a pain. Like, thank you so much. So I had to drive back, which I had like just passed the part of the highway where turning around would have been easy. So I almost basically spent the 20 in gas to go back, but definitely super nice of her. If it was like, if I gave her an extra 5, I probably would have just been like, keep it. I'd already negotiated $5 off of it, just keep it, but $20 right now, had to go back. And yeah, we'll jump over here. Got a little anime book. It's like a textbook. Paid $1 at a yard sale. Looks like it's going for like 20, 25, but the rank's really bad. It's over 1 million. Sometimes in books that's not bad, but definitely not going to send it to FBA. Might see what it's going for on eBay. And then over here, got a boxed Wii. I paid $20 because they thought it was broken. It ended up actually being, so it's actually that middle one. I just swapped it for the one that I had told you the story about there. It works. It's just the top is cracked. So they might have just assumed it didn't work, but it works fine. But $20. Also got these brass owl things, and after looking it up, they're ends for like a book rack. I kind of like had figured that's what they were because they have these like little dowels or spots for dowels, but they didn't seem to have them. But I paid $20 for the Wii in-box, a bunch of those games, some PS3 games and a PS4 game, all because they thought it was broken. So anytime somebody tells you it's broken, you can always just kind of like pay really low because they just want to get rid of it. But then again, you might end up with a broken thing. So now we're going to go to this big wall of stuff you've probably seen a bunch. And you're saying, why aren't you mentioning this? Oh my God, look at those. So these are 2 Commodore Amiga 500s. And a couple packs of Maxell UR90 tapes. So I ended up paying $40 for these, I believe. I should probably double check. I want to say it was 40. It might have been 50. I can't quite remember. Pretty sure it was 40. Yeah, complete. The bottom one's complete. I might have actually just included some of the stuff. So whatever was in that box, I listed with that box. Whatever was in that box, I listed with that box. The only thing I took out of this one were copies of programs for what was in there. So these are already sold. I bought these a week ago. I listed them yesterday. I listed them at prices where I was like, people will send me offers. This is like $200 over the like next one that I've seen listed. I'll just wait for the offers. If somebody buys them at the prices, they buy them at the prices. Bottom one sold for $699. $699. That's probably the highest single item I've sold. I believe there might have been some random other thing before, but yeah, $699 plus shipping. I put in a little bit of a handling fee because I'm probably gonna have to buy a custom box or like go to UPS and get one of those really big ones. Because I think it's bigger than any Staples box that I own. Yeah, and then on top of that, we got the non-deluxe one, which unfortunately does not work correctly. The disk drive, it wouldn't boot any discs. So I actually did test both of these because this one comes with a TV adapter for a coax. So you plug that in the back, and then you plug like an antenna cable, and then it comes with the little computer switch that you're supposed to like plug in. It's got those like two-prong things to plug in older style TVs, but it didn't have the coax adapter. But thankfully the antenna cable plugs into that. So I just had a bunch of these little tiny ones that I bought to use for Intellivisions and Atari 2600s because they're smaller and they're easier to use than those other things. So I just included one of those. Bottom one worked fine. I played Zany Golf and loaded up like music, whatever. And then top one, yeah, wouldn't boot. But I listed that for $325 because I figured it's decent. It displays, so it technically works. Somebody might be able to fix it. They were going for parts for around like $200. They were working for like $275. I was like, well, I have the box. I listed it for $325. I had somebody already messaging me about it, sent me an offer for $275. And then while I was out yard selling today, so I already went yard selling and none of that is included here. So my car is also full of stuff. So at this point, definitely subscribe if you want to see other big hauls, because I got some pretty good stuff this weekend. Definitely not on this caliber, but pretty good stuff overall. And it's actually only Saturday, so I have tomorrow as well. But yeah, so they sent me an offer for $275. I ignored it because I had to go to bed and then get up and go yard selling. At some point going yard selling, they just ended up buying it for $325. Also sold some other stuff. So I've done 1,100 and change today. So this is probably my biggest sales day ever. There are definitely some days around Christmas where it's like $800 or $900, but like single highest selling things right here, like top 15 definitely for the two, only because I've definitely sold things around 300 before, but 700 for this guy on the bottom. Amazing. These are one of the things, like, if it wasn't so huge and such a burden to like set up, I would probably keep, but I just don't have room, especially when it plays games the caliber of like Nintendo. So there are definitely games you can't replicate, just because the keyboard and mouse, but yeah, no room, so they had to go. And yeah, it was just crazy. And I still have the tapes to sell, which those will go between $10 and $12, you know. And I gave them my number because they said they had an old Game Boy and possibly an old Nintendo somewhere. So based off like the condition of this stuff, like I'm hoping that stuff's in the box too, and they'll call me, because often people do not call. So now that we got to that, the rest of this might feel unexciting, but here's just a real mood killer. Here's 4 sports games that I paid $1 for all 4. Madden 2002, NFL Quarterback Club 98, In the Zone 98, and All-Star Baseball 2000. Only bought them because it's decent to lot up on eBay, and I have a few up for sale individually. Then this stack also had Spyro the Dragon, which came in a Spyro Year the Dragon case for some reason. That is off to Amazon. Kept the rest because these Nintendo games, I don't like to send anything above like sales rank like 32, 33,000, and even then it's pushing it. So all these are like kind of over that. So we got Airwolf, Little Mermaid, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I actually bought these 2 at another yard sale for $2. So Dracula's Curse, that's a good one. I think that goes for like 30, 35. Bases Loaded second season, Spy vs. Spy, Days of Thunder, John Elway Quarterback, Gorilla, which I'd never heard of, Monster Truck Rally, Mickey Mousecapade. I thought this one would be worth more. Most of the Mickey games do pretty well, but that one does not. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the Three Stooges. So yeah, $10 except for those 2 other ones, which were 2. Get into this stack. I mean, at this point you can probably kind of see everything, but if you want to stick around, that'd be swell. So, oh, now I remember. I remember if it was the black Wii or the other white Wii I had. I bought at another yard sale where they just kept bringing out stuff. They just were like, oh, we have this, and we have this, and we have this. And some of those games I already sent off to Amazon. It was like Twilight Princess and stuff like that. But here's some of the remnants that I didn't send off because I didn't want to test them at the time. So we got Forza Horizon, Forza Horizon 2. There was like some broken ones too. Price is Right Decades, Monster Jam, Urban Assault was inside one of the Wii's. This was inside the GameCube, Spider-Man, which this was one of the things I realized that EA, right after finding out that the FBA stuff, found out this, you could only list as new, even though I could have swore I listed as acceptable, was listed as new, sold, and then I had to cancel it because it's clearly not new. So in here also, I picked up an original Xbox for $5. These are some of the other games: Karaoke Revolution, Mario Party, or Monopoly Party. Wii Sports Resort should be in there, but I have to test it apparently. But yeah, the system ended up being broken. The disk drive wouldn't open. I don't feel like fixing it. The controllers were all pretty beat up looking too. But had some okay games. So Open Season was one of those. And then, yeah, I've really mixed up a lot of these. So let's just go through them. If I remember something, I'll let you know. So we got Wii Play, Just Dance 2017, Just Dance 2, Super Mario Galaxy. I paid $1 for at the yard sale next to the Vintage Tea yard sale. Iron Sonic Olympic Games, which that's already sold for $17. This I paid $1 for across the street from the Wii U stuff, and it also came with Predator, which I think is in that stack of stuff. And this also I forget if I paid $1 or $2 for this stuff, but Gilmore Girls Season 1 sealed. So I've been buying sealed DVD stuff. Because most go for between like $9 and $15. One of the free game, or $20 lot. Battle Giants Dinosaur Strikes, Disney Mario. Wow. Just Dance Disney Party. Barbie Horse Adventure Riding Camp. This I bought a copy of Mario Kart Wii and some GameCube games I'll show you in a minute. Paid $20. Also got these NCIS season season 6. 5 and 4 all sealed. They had 1, 2, and 3 open, but I figured sealed. Stick with that. These are the 2 games that came with the 360, NBA 2K10 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's more of the Wii U stuff. We got Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, Lego Marvel. They had Skylanders and Minecraft Story Mode, as well as I think a couple more Lego games that already sold. Plus, again, those Mario and Donkey Kong, which I am keeping. And then this stack. So these came with the Wii in the box. We got Battlefront for PS4, Ratchet and Clank, which I do have a copy at my mom's house, which I was working on there. I downloaded my save on my PS3 here, and I think I'm just gonna finish it up here and then pick up that copy and sell it. A game that I like to call Plabob Stars, but PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, mouthful. Lego Batman 2. Also had Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, but it was broken. Lego Harry Potter, Wii Play. For some reason they had Lego Dimensions, and I think I have the Skylanders thing and a Lego Portal, but they didn't have any figures. This came with one of them, New Super Mario Bros. I really mixed in these Gamecube things. So it was Everything or Nothing, Nightfire, and Tony Hawk 3 were the ones that came with those CS and CIS, wow, games. And then some like decent, we got a lot of Need for Speed, so Need for Speed Most Wanted Black Edition, which that's like a $15 game. Need for Speed Carbon, Need for Speed Underground. Unfortunately, I can't list any of these on Amazon anymore, so these are all on eBay. I decided to just lot them up because it looked like Need for Speed games lotted up were doing well. So Pro Street, Undercover, Test Drive, Medal of Honor. The art for this one was actually really messed up and like gross, so I threw it away and put in. I just had an empty case for it. So LA Rush, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which is stuck to Big Mother Truckers, which I think I put this in a new case as well because it was broken. ATV Off-Road Fury, Agent Under Fire, Medal of Honor, European Assault. Again, can't list these on. I think some of these are on Amazon because I had listings. We'll find out if they stay. Gran Turismo 3 Aspect, or A-Spec. Grand Theft Auto 3, Nightclub 2. This, I ended up getting these 2 games with the PS2 that I paid. I think I paid $28 for that. But unfortunately, only the bonus disc and the manual. Still worth it. Oh, still, honestly, probably worth $15, $20 on its own, if not more, because it's the bonus disc one. And then I think this is Sims 3. Had those thrown in. She had $1 on this, $2 on this, and 40 on the PS2, and all the games. Got it for $28. And then just like a bunch of Mario Kart Wii. I even got 2 more copies in the car today. They're going between 40 and 50 right now. They're also great to bundle with Wii's. Got Mario Party 8 in there. World War II Aces. Lego Batman. Scooby-Doo. This is one of the ones. Some of those original ones. Throwville. Already said Agent on Fire. Tony Hawk. Cars Tune, Mater, Worms Battle Islands. So I actually ended up getting some of these Wii games. I think I got like 5 or 6 Wii games. One of which was Mario, one of which was this, and the cords and controllers. Actually, yeah, that's where I got those controllers. So actually, when I bought the Xbox 360, it did not come with controllers. So I got those 2 controllers, a bunch of Wii controllers, lots of Wii controller pluses. And $10 I paid, and ended up being able to complete a Wii that I bought that didn't have wires. So yeah, $20 on the Worm. That's Island though. Lego, Star Wars Lego, whatever. Zumba Fitness, the Tony Hawk Proving Ground I mentioned. Super Mario Galaxy, Lego Indiana Jones, and new Super Mario Bros. Wii. So yeah, that was quite a journey. That was 40 minutes of recording time. I'm hoping I can cut that down for you. We'll find out. But yeah, so that was that. Definitely best finds right there. $1,000 I made. Over $1,000 I've made today. I mean, with fees, it's under. But with the other stuff I sold, it's right back over. So yeah. And these t-shirts, they're definitely amazing. So probably gonna make around $900 on the t-shirts. Same thing with those. If I can keep that up, I'm gonna have a great time. But definitely, you have to go to a lot of yard sales to make that happen. So always check Craigslist. Always just check Facebook. I will even look at yardsale.net. There's also some apps that I don't use, but I've heard are decent. I think it's like Yard Sale Treasure Map is supposed to be decent. I haven't used it, but it's also good to just look for signs between, like if you're looking on Craigslist and you have it plugged into your GPS and it takes you on the highway, but there's a route that takes 2 or 3 minutes not on the highway, 2 or 3 minutes more, take that route because you might find more yard sales on the way. Most of the yard sales I went to today that I found good stuff at were not on Craigslist and were not on Facebook. They were just happened to be on the route between 2 yard sales that I was going to. And most of the stuff is never out. These computers were not out. N64 was not out. So on. Always ask. Wii was not out. So 100%. Always ask for stuff. And have a small list. I always ask for the same 4 things: video games, iPods, calculators, and Polaroid cameras. Polaroid cameras aren't so much a thing for me anymore. I don't really have too many. I do still pick them up, but they're just something that a lot of people still have. So it's decent. If you can buy that, they'll often be like, oh, I do have video games, and go back for them. So there's some tips for you if you stuck around till the end. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please like. And, I'm going to try to get a few more of these out before the winter comes, because I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to do in the winter while this whole pandemic thing is still going, because I'm not a fan of thrift stores right now, because people just they crowd you. If you've been to a thrift store before this happened, So, yeah, anyway, everyone have a good one. Bye.